Today we're going to be going over how to make a retainer for our patient. We've seen with the bleaching tray material how to do the vacuum former for a patient for a mouth guard, a bleaching tray, but this is a little bit different material. So what is the difference between these two materials?
The clear one, like the light one, is more for bleaching trays. Okay. And the darker one is more for like actual retainers.
Okay. And the other thing, when I hold it like this, it stays straight. When I hold this one, you see how flexible it is already, okay? But this one, you've got to get to a gel state. And I can touch all over it right now, but there's a film on it. And you want to take the film off, and you don't want to touch the top of this, okay? You want it to be nice and clear because it's going to be what some people call it an Essex or invisible retainer. So we're going to move this out of the way. I'm going to set it down, line it up evenly. Now with this particular vacuum former, it doesn't do an even amount of heat. So I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit. I'm gonna put the model under here, and I've trimmed it out on the lingual and the facial and buccal, because when this suctions down, it's going to pull towards it. So it wants to pull in the lingual and the facial, so it all just sucks down evenly. So I'm gonna line that up, and I'm gonna slowly have this heat up. It'd be really great if we had one that you could set a certain temperature and it heated evenly. But that's okay, we'll work with what we got. And I'll show you on the other one that I did earlier, I let it go ahead and heat all the way, and it got all of these air bubbles in it. So you just kind of have to be sensitive with it. Now the biggest problem is when you're in a lab with other people, you'll want to start talking and then you forget all about it. And the next thing you know, it's melted all the way down and it's like, gotta start all over again. So just be aware when you're, using certain equipment like this, you have to kind of keep an eye on it.
So because it's a thicker film thing, it's gonna take longer for it to actually melt?
Oh, absolutely. But if I just leave this hard heat on there, it's just gonna start bubbling up. And if you're looking at it underneath a little bit, you'll see it starts to kind of, work its way. And it's kind of a pain, but if you're in here paying attention, but also talking like we're doing, it shouldn't be an issue. And then I'll show you all how to trim it out, because it is a lot different from trimming out one of these flexible mouthguard materials. I use a high speed to trim this out. It's a lot faster. And there's two ways that you can actually trim. Some people use one of the iris scissors, but I don't like doing that because, as you can see, this one has bent over. And that's for oral surgery, to trim tissue and things like that. I like to use the crown and collar scissors that are kind of curved. It makes it easier, I think, to trim it. It's like a hair dryer. You keep that direct heat on your hair, it's gonna singe it. All right, now you can kind of see where it looks like someone's starting to sit in a hammock. I'll turn that direct heat off. It's starting to singe a little bit. All right. Now this is very hot, okay, so you gotta be careful. And I'm gonna just take that off, just like this. And then I'm gonna run it under cold water. And we're gonna take this out there so you can see what it's like to trim it out. And it did singe up. You can see, you know, the little tiny air bubbles. But once you do a few of these and this warms up, it's fine.